so, cheer it up, yell, scream, bravo. Also, if you didn't know, this is called the show.
What's up, everybody? Once again, it's your man, Devious, the voice of soul, with the second half of the holiday edition of Devious Fridays right here on GS Radio Nork and Ustream.tv. We first did the first part of the show. For those of you who might have been watching us on Facebook, we'll just have to use the GS Radio link and give it to you guys a little bit later because it was my fault. I'm not technology savvy. I'm old. I was born in last century, so it doesn't come. But I appreciate y'all for watching once again. I appreciate each and every one of you. But my guest for the second part of this show is none other than the South Ward Councilman for the City of Newark, Mr. John Sharpe James.
Good evening. Pleasure to be here.
How are you, sir?
Can't complain.
That's what it is. I want you to let everybody, because I was trying to get some information prior to the interview, and you have an extensive background in, first of all, in the military, and then a whole lot of other organizations. What was it that made you come from those organizations into doing politics in the city of Newark?
Well, I'm just born and raised. I'm a Newark kid.
Mm-hmm.
Went to St. Benedict's High School.
Okay.
My father was elected South Ward Councilman. I was 2 years old in 1970. And so I always had politics in my family.
Okay.
Whether it was him campaigning with Mayor Gibson at the time.
I remember Mayor
every
Gibson,
4 years. So, 70, 74, 78, 82, and then he was elected mayor in 86. Through 2006. So politics was always around, but I was very humble, always just focused on studies. And after I graduated from St. Benedict's, I went on to Morehouse College, where I then started Army Reserves.
Okay.
And just, kept it moving. Ultimately ended up with my military career at Rutgers Law School.
Nice. And politics was your focus, or did you want to go to practice law?
Actually, I just want to get the education. So it's like when you in college with an English degree, you either do two things. You either teach or you go on to law school. So I said I'll go on to law school.
I know that's right.
The military, my father and family supported that, and that's what I did.
And how many brothers and sisters do you have?
I have two brothers.
Just two brothers?
Two brothers. One 4 years younger, that's Elliot, and another 10 years younger, that's Kevin.
Wow. So you're a big brother.
Right.
That's what's up.
The oldest.
Nice. How was that growing up? Like, did they follow you around or try and follow in your footsteps?
Well, actually, it was the opposite. Me being out the first one, I hung out with the older kids on the block, and my mother told my younger brother, not to be like me.
Wow.
So he stayed in the house all the time, and then my baby brother, when he came out, we're all close together.
Nice.
But back then, we're talking about, 74, 76, different kind of environment. But
absolutely.
Hey, we all love each other. We love the family, and that's what matters at the end of the day.
What is your take on the changes that are happening currently in the city? Newark is known as the Renaissance City. Some people call it Brick City.
Right.
Which one are you more inclined to use when describing the city of Newark?
Well, moving forward, I think we need to focus on something that's more inclusive, as opposed to Brick City, which means like hard. It was made of bricks for a long period of time because we were a manufacturing hub. We had 9 breweries here, liquor breweries, beer breweries. We had all of the factories. We had cobblestone streets and the bricks where that came from. But just as a progressive name, we want to be the gateway city or the Renaissance city, and it's better. It sounds better.
I like that. I'm a fan of saying, because I've lived in Newark most of my life, except for when I went to college, and Newark has a lot of hidden jewels. that people just really don't know exist here in the city. What are some of the things in the city that you know of that people aren't completely aware of that you think they should know about?
Well, I think just the history of the city where, after the riots or the rebellion, some call it, we really stuck together. We stuck together through bad times, and we slowly rebuilt. So there are a lot of folks throughout the city that know each other. I mean, for decades. I mean, the families know each other because after the rebellion, no one moved to North. Remember, everyone was moving out.
Away, yeah.
And so I think that's one of the biggest things, the threads that we know each other, and the folks that grew up in the old projects, which are torn down now, still remember, some of the projects. And it's the networking. It's just knowing each other. A lot of people don't believe that. Like, how can you know everybody in a big city like North?
Right.
Well, we got to know each other during those lean years when nobody was coming in.
Really quickly, I just need to say, big up to Eddie Nicholas, Tanya Veltz, Iris Goodhart. Thank y'all for watching. Also, if you guys have any questions for the councilman, of course, this is live, so you can call in. The number is 973-901-9646. Again, it's 973-901-9646. That's the direct number to the station. If you call right now with any questions, comments, you want to talk to the councilman, you want to say what's up, happy holidays, whatever it is, call in right now. The phone lines are open. What is your vision for the city of Newark?
Well, right now, especially folks on not just the South Ward, but I see us working together, and we have to work together. We have to unite, because with the new president in the White House, I believe we're going to see more cuts in funding. With a supportive president and a supportive governor, a lot of things happened in Newark. When Bill Clinton was the president and my father was mayor, we were able to get a COPS grant and have money come down directly from the federal government to hire hundreds and hundreds of officers. That's a good relationship. Under the Obama administration, Honorable Mayor Ras Barak was able to get Obama and the federal government to give money so that we can have hundreds of more youth in our summer youth program.
Nice.
And My Brother's Keeper program, another federally funded program. You can have those things happen when you have a supportive president and or a supportive governor. Right now, we're not going to receive a supportive president. They say give him the benefit of the doubt, but we will see. But we need to focus right now on the governor's race. And I'm supporting Phil Murphy, actively supporting him, because we need a Democrat back in Trenton. And as you see from the current governor, we're just getting hit over the head with cuts in funding and lack of support for things which could really improve, again, not just the South Ward, but the city as a whole.
What are some of the other things that the candidate that you support for governor, that he's using in his platform that you think are going to benefit us directly?
Well, the main thing is he wants to restore fiscal responsibility on the state level. The state has undergone 10 credit downgrades in the last 7 years. So imagine, the financial credit folks are just looking at you and saying, you're bouncing a check, you're in the red, and we don't see a plan for you to improve. And so right now the state is running about a $1 billion deficit on the year, and we have a governor who's talking about, let's spend $300 million on restoring the State House. I mean, it's unbelievable. It's like you're getting ready to lose your home, but they're saying, let's spend $300,000 on improving the garage. It just doesn't make sense. But that's what we deal with. And so we need somebody in Trenton that when we call as the largest city in New Jersey, Jersey City's close, but we're still the largest, that we get the kind of support. It's no secret that in New York State, New York City gets the most support because they are the largest city. But the capital is Albany.
Right.
If Newark got the same respect that New York City has and still receives, then maybe the aquarium that they put down in Camden would be in Newark.
Right.
Maybe the battleship would be in Newark. Atlantic City, the casinos, at least some of them would have been in New York. I mean, would have been in Newark, as opposed to scattering everything away from the city instead of supporting your largest city.
Yeah, I don't know why, after all that's happened in the city and the revitalization that's going on, why people still shy away from the city. What do people say to you in regard to that?
Well, it's we've had a negative perception for, again, decades since the riots. And unfortunately, the media harps on that. We have a lot of programs and positive things that go on in the city of Newark. We get no media coverage.
Right.
But yet when someone steals a car, someone shoots someone, the cameras are all over the place. You know, unfortunately, we had an incident where the individual stabbed 6 individuals, 2 who died, 3 who died, and 3 who were seriously injured. We decided to have a community prayer vigil, and the press was all over it. And I said, you know what? Let's not have it outside in the street with these 6 or 7 press trucks. Let's go into church and not have the press, and just allow myself, the mayor, the pastor, to talk to the people, the families, and those who are grieving as to what's going on and how the community needs to continue to fight and be together.
Nice.
And it was only after several other people said, you know, well, let's let the press in, that we let them come in. But, you know, we need to play up our positive things, all of the new artwork going up throughout the city, you know, just so many things, small things that are community oriented that we're trying to improve the quality of life in the city of Newark. They have to understand, we had a massive layoff in 2010 of police officers.
Yeah.
And then we had no new police officer classes in a long time. I think we had a class in 2006, 2007. Those classes were both laid off in 2010. So when you go back from 2010 to 2016, you're talking about 6 years with no new police. And previously, police used to retire 20, 18 a year, something like that. When Christie changed the pension where they had to pay for health care in 2010, that number doubled or tripled. So we started losing 60, 70, 80 retiring a year. And with no new classes, it brought our levels, you know, low. So you don't see them out in the street as much,
right, because
they're responding from call to call to call. You know, and majority of the priority is going to gun-related calls, domestic violence calls, and so I was offended, you know, when the press ran an article talking about if you get in a car accident, the police may not show up. Well, the priority is to go to violent crime and violent crime scenes, but sometimes you have to assess, go after the suspects, block off the area. One cop car can't do that.
Right.
So for someone to get into a car accident and the accident is minor, no one's injured, less than $500 worth of damage, you know, we don't have the manpower right now to send a car out there. And we just encourage all of the participants to come to the police station and file a police report. You know, yet the news, you know, said the cops won't come and have an accident. In other suburban towns, the cops don't come if you have a minor accident. They tell you, come in and report it. Some towns you can report it online.
Wow. Is there a plan to get more police in the city? Because I know that's a major concern for a lot of citizens, myself included.
Absolutely. Number one, we've tried to not raise the budget and increase taxes on taxpayers who are already overburdened. Limited budget expenditures. We're trying to hire at least 150 cops per year.
Okay.
And so we've been reaching out to the Attorney General. You know, we had the consent order to try and get any kind of assistance on the state and federal level for funding, because it costs money to send these cops away for training classes. And so that's what we're doing. About 150 cops a year. We're trying to add back to the rolls. We're trying to encourage cops who are already on the force to stay. And we've asked the community to help. We've asked the community to be eyes and ears when the cops aren't there, to alert them to what's going on in your immediate neighborhood or something you see. If you see a suspicious car that comes every morning at 6 o'clock, you know they don't live on the block, you know, let the police know. We think that's a drug dealer. We think he's dropping something off. Here's the plate number. We're not asking residents to confront anyone, but give us that information in real time or as soon as you can so the cops can react. And maybe one of those mornings, a cop car intercepts that car.
Okay.
So we know we can't do it alone. We've asked you know, everyone to get involved. We're all in the same ship. I live here, my mother and father live here, my brothers still live here, my grandmother lives in the North Ward. So we're all involved and all affected.
Has there been has the community begun to divulge information? Because there's this unwritten no snitching situation that a lot of people think that's the code of the street or whatever. But because I do, as I drive through the city, if there's been a crime here, there's the billboard up with the Crime Stoppers number. Have people been responding
Yes.
and giving information?
Yes, they have been responding, and those are the people who love the community. And the streets will always be the streets. Now, if you adhere to that code, one day you might be the victim.
Right.
Wouldn't, or someone in your family might be the victim. Wouldn't you want someone to report that situation? If they know the suspect, wouldn't you want that suspect turned in? Or would you want your family members' murder or violent incident to go unresolved? So it goes both ways because we're all in this together.
Right. With the with the election of this man, who I hate to use the word president and him in the same sentence, I believe, and I've been discussing with other people, and I think that the only way that our communities, meaning communities of color, disenfranchised communities, indigent communities, populations, people who really don't have certain amount of advantages, the best way and the only way that we are going to, for lack of a better term, come up is by supporting each other in community-based organizations that support us and pull together. Are there more initiatives in the city that, because where we are right now is a community organization, this is the hub, FP Youth Outcry, and they do a lot of programs here, but I know that a lot of times it's like a struggle for money. So are there more initiatives in the city that we can tell the community-based organizations to see, or where should they go in order to get the money? Because a lot of them, like this place, are doing like really great work, and they're going to be the ones who help the kids and everything else. So where should they, how should they, where and how should they proceed?
Okay, well, it's a serious problem as far as funding. And my prime example is IYO.
Yes.
And they've been in the community forever. Bedrock passed every test as far as state regulations. They graduate 99% of the kids who have fallen on hard times to go through their program for GED and all kinds of other training programs. Grants and funding for programs on a federal level and even in the philanthropic level have changed. No longer do they give excess money, enough to keep the lights on, the heat, or the electricity. Now the money is streamlined, so it only goes for the materials for that class.
Wow.
And so it's a serious problem. And if we don't give federal assistance or state assistance, then it can't just come out of a budget. We need better grant writers working with the city to collaborate to try and get the funding coming in. You know, so you outlined a dire problem, and there's no easy answer. You know, and the limited programs that we have at the city, you know, only support so many. And then after that, there's not even any guarantee that you're going to get a job or economic employment.
Right.
Right now, we've been focusing on reentry programs, you know, because nobody's perfect. People make mistakes in life. They get incarcerated. They come home. And we don't want to see recidivism.
Right.
We don't want to see them right back out on the streets. But by the same token, people have to realize that they do owe a debt to society. And when they come out and start from scratch, you know, no one's going to give them any breaks. The economy in this country is horrible. So if you have a criminal record, a felony record, you can't work at certain places. You can't work at the airport because after September 11th, Homeland Security, you have to have a clean background. So that job is out. You might not be able to work at UPS or FedEx. those jobs are now out. So it's tough, it's not easy, and we just have to work at it.
Are there, because we're also seeing a resurgence of big corporations coming back into the city of Newark, are there some of them who are willing to work with ex-offenders?
That's going to be on an individual basis. It's tough.
Okay.
I've never seen it definitively, like we're looking for ex-offenders. No, they're looking for qualified individuals or
Right.
entry-level individuals for a certain job. They're not specifically looking for ex-offenders. But online, there have been several websites which list companies, hundreds of companies, which hire ex-offenders.
Okay.
So it may not be in the city of Newark.
But
It might be in
close by.
Union.
Right.
It might be in Cranford. You have to look it up. The internet is such a vast resource right
Absolutely.
now that you can look up anything, and specifically, I've definitely seen those websites. So just Google jobs which hire ex-offenders in New Jersey. It may be Pennsylvania.
Right.
You
Maybe
never
the
know.
closest
But
one.
if you truly want to work, if you take advantage of that opportunity, then you're going to work. Now, are you going to get $1 million? No. There's no school, college, university, law school that can guarantee that you're going to make, oodles of money, compared to what you might have been making on the streets. But if you want to turn your life around, the opportunity is there, but you have to stay committed and focused and take advantage of one of those programs or companies that give you a shot to get in the door. You can't get into companies and act like people owe you or you did your time. It's tough out here. We have immigrants sneaking into the country, swimming into the country, risking their lives to get here to work for crumbs. And they're doing it. And those folks are getting hired.
Right.
Now, we want $300 sneakers, a BMW, a Mercedes, a Coach bag, some red bottom shoes.
It's some nonsense.
It's some nonsense. And I want to say this publicly. One of our biggest failures, I think, in the black community is to understand the younger generation, home ownership
Right.
and relationships. If you can work together with your partner and you have 2 part-time jobs or 2 full-time jobs, and you guys can scrap it together and get a mortgage to buy a home, home prices are low right now. You get a home for $75,000, $85,000. What people are paying for those Mercedes and Denali's and all kinds of other stuff.
Right.
So if we work on a relationship, if 2 incomes are combined for one to better the household, economically you can buy a home. Instead of complaining about your landlord, you become your own landlord. And the mortgage, typically mortgage is 30 years. It goes down over a 30-year period. You earn equity in a home. We're out here paying, we talk about the people in the suburbs, we're paying their mortgages. From the properties they own in Newark, we are paying their rent, which pays their mortgage, allows them to live out there in the suburbs.
Absolutely.
A lot of other cultures respect home ownership that come from other countries. And we just, as Americans, I've seen too many times, especially in the South where we had a heavily African-American home ownership level, where mother or grandmother dies, leaves the house to the kids.
And they lose it.
The kids lose the house or flip the house. They each get $5,000 to $6,000, and then they're back to renting again. I mean, it's unbelievable.
Are there organizations within the city that teach those type of skills that if I wanted to say go and learn about how to go about investing in a home and to be financially savvy, are there organizations in the city that people can turn to teach them those type of things?
Well, I have my monthly meeting every 3rd Saturday of the month.
Okay.
And a part of that, I bring in organizations or individuals who are well-versed in those areas.
Okay.
Is it every month? No. But then we also have banks like Rising Tide Capital working with our economic department, and we can call or interact, or if someone has questions, we can have a financial person talk to them. But remember, it starts at the person. The person has to keep steady employment. The person has to build a relationship with someone who they can combine their money, go in and get a mortgage. Because 9 times out of 10, one person by themselves can't afford a mortgage.
Right.
You know, unless they have a certain type of job. But if they start a family structure within themselves, if they have a kid together, I mean, it's just better. I believe 2 incomes are better than 1. But unfortunately, I believe the welfare system is meant to keep us apart.
Absolutely.
Where the mother will get the benefits. She can't have anybody live with her. He can't come on the lease. If he's on the lease and he has income, then she's kicked off the benefits. So it's
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying, because I worked with welfare clients for 15 years. I just recently retired.
Okay.
And I called my job daddy. That's where I like in my mind, that's what it was. I saw so many young women who came in, and the reason they were there was to get all the things that a man would normally provide for the kid. They needed the health care, they needed food stamps, they needed cash grants, but the other thing that they needed was education, because of course it's the welfare to work system now. It's no longer just welfare and you stay home. You actually have to go and do something. So I watched that day in and day out, and like you said, it is designed to keep us apart, even when young men or young women, when they come from, if they were incarcerated. Now they can't live with their significant other if they live in public housing.
Right.
Things like that are things that keep do I want to say the black family, for lack of a better term, because that's who it mostly affects in my perspective anyway. It keeps us apart. It doesn't make for a cohesive situation, and trying to come to places in our life like you just described, coming together, are just that much more difficult because the system is not designed to bring us together. So how do you believe we can begin to heal that?
Well, I think communication is the key. Far too many times, people have issues with someone, resort to violence. You know, that shouldn't be the first reaction you do to something. I mean, we need to talk. I know we have anger issues, you know, at times, but I mean, we need to talk, really communicate. And that's one reason, you know, I come on, you know, shows like this. I don't come on too often, but every time I'm invited, I will come, because we need real people. Norcas just talking. This is basic stuff. Instead of, I don't like him, so I'm gonna go kill him.
Right.
He said something about my sister, I'm gonna go kill him. Like, why do we need guns, you know, to the level and extent that we have them, where, I mean, it's just like, that's the first thing people wanna do. I mean, there have been studies that talked about, you know, how over the centuries, it wasn't blacks killing blacks, it was whites killing blacks, slavery on up. Now it's blacks killing blacks every day, every week, every weekend. And we need to come together, some kind of healing, as far as they have the March on Washington coming up. I believe it's January 14th or 15th. So I'm supporting Reverend Al Sharpe and the National Action Network that's in at least one bus I'm supporting from the South Ward is going down.
Okay.
But people need to come together. You know, it's discussion, and we shouldn't feel insecure to discuss things.
Right.
You know, because ultimately, people are going down certain paths that if they had talked to someone about it, they might not have taken that path.
True.
I mean, we just had that basketball player, I believe he was like 18 or something, that he was a #1 prospect in like the state. And because they didn't have practice one night, he wanted to go hang out with his buddies. And his buddies went and either robbed or shot someone. Now, he didn't do anything, but he got caught up in those charges. The scouts stopped looking at him, and he went back out on the streets.
Wow.
And was just killed within the last 2 weeks. #1 prospect, all kinds of videos of him in the basketball camps and during the seasons. I mean, I think he scored like 100 points in one game.
Wow.
Like unheard of.
Wow.
Gone because he was with the wrong crew, and if he had maybe listened to his coach or some friends or an adult, he might have stayed home instead of being out there.
That one bad decision. Unfortunately, it's not even that our prisons are filled with people who are inherently bad or continuously do bad things. A lot of times it's somebody who made one bad decision. can really, really change your life. The March on Washington and things like that are excellent to begin the conversations, but how do we continue those conversations? Because once we have the the march or whatever, everybody goes back home and there's short-lived dialogue. But there needs to be something that's community oriented, something that is steady, something that is consistent, that needs to happen in order for us to move forward, or I don't believe we're going to survive the next 4 years intact.
Well, I think in the city of Newark, that person is our mayor, Honorable Mayor Raz Baraka. He's very well versed, very intelligent. He just, when you listen to him, I mean, you get energized, and everything he says is on point, And his love for the city, he just wears it on his sleeve. So, I'm trying to learn, everything he says, I'm learning, but his vision for the city of Newark and giving it, back to the community where the community feels they're part of the city hall, they're part of the city resources, and there's someone at the top, at least on a municipal level, cares about them. That's the direction we need to go. But then, again, you have hatred within the African American community. They don't want somebody else to be in charge. They want to be in charge.
Right.
It's like, come on. They do a press interview on the mayor or elected official, what have you, and then someone in the community is like, oh, why are they focusing on them? I was like, come on. Instead of just understanding and respecting the message that, hey, well, they're an elected official. Let's look at the program or the situation they're trying to positively address and grow from that instead of hating the individual.
Exactly. Somebody that I think you and I both know in common had an organization that I believe was really, really capable of doing the type of work that you and I are talking about now. Amina Bey, Frederica Bey, the Women in Support of the Million Man March was an organization that, I'm gonna tell you my theory real quick when it comes to healing our community. I believe that it is gonna take women to heal our community.
Well, first of all, women run our community.
Right, which
most
is
African American
heads of households
are women.
Are women,
and they're doing it, and they're getting promoted, and they're working because they want to support their babies.
The other part of that equation is the women are going to heal the community, but the men must heal the women.
Absolutely. I think African American males need to do more. Again, I mentioned that with relationships. We need to respect women more. Stop going from one to the next, having one kid here, one with another one. It's hard. I'm not saying relationships are easy.
Right.
But we need to put in the work and effort if we're ever going to get back to those days where we had the traditional black family. It can't be self-centered. It can't be about you all the time. You feeling good, you being right. You have to look at the big picture. Well, maybe my partner, my girlfriend or my boyfriend, they want to move in a positive direction and they want to do it this way, but I want to do it this way. Maybe we can come to middle ground because they care about me or they love me or we're in a relationship or we're living together. We need to, and that's on a basic level. That's on an individual level. Government can't force you to stay with someone.
Right.
Your friend, if you got bad friends, they're gonna give you the wrong advice. But misery loves company.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you don't need to be with him. Go do your own thing. You gorgeous. You get somebody else. we need to stop with all that because my parents, my father's 80, my mother's 76.
God bless
they
them.
had a different era. They were married for life. Of course, there are gonna be disagreements. There are gonna be arguments. Sometimes the money doesn't meet, the rubber doesn't
meet the road. Right.
But is that a reason for just totally disenfranchising yourself? Because nobody's going to be perfect.
Right.
You could jump from the frying pan into the fire. You think you don't like this guy, and now the next guy is beating you, and now you're putting up with it.
We were actually, the people that were here just before you, for the show just before this one, they were talking about the Tyler Perry's infamous 80-20 rule. And how you might, think that you want this other 20% because it's not what you're getting. But then you go to the 20%, and that's all you're getting is 20%.
Exactly.
And another thing, you mentioned the internet is a wealth of information. I also think that people today, one of the reasons they don't stay together is because they just have too many choices.
And they put too much of their business out. So, I mean, I've seen people, they get in arguments with their significant other, and now they're putting their business out on the internet. The stabbing I talked to you about, and that wasn't relationship oriented, I don't believe, but he went and killed the people in the house because of a Facebook post. Because he was wanted for another incident where he raped and stabbed a woman.
Wow.
Raped and shot a woman who luckily survived. So, you know, again, it can be used for positive purpose or negative purpose. I don't think you should put your relationship information, unless it may be something humorous, out on the internet.
Right.
Because the people feed off of it. And then once you get it out there, someone screenshot it or saved it, you can't take it back.
Can't take it back.
So you're out there cursing at your significant other, you know, he's an MF, da-da-da-da-da. Just can't do it.
Do you plan to, at some point, run for the the mayor?
Well, to be honest, I'm a poor politician. I'm a people person. I'm a public servant. That's what I call myself. And I'm just here to work. When I started in the military, I went in as a private. I didn't say I'm coming in to be General MacArthur, you know. And year after year, I just worked my way up, did my job, slowly got promoted. And then when I went to Afghanistan, I was there for about 6 months. And active duty Army said, you know, Major James, we want to make you a commander, a ground commander. They came to me. I didn't say, you know, I want to be in charge. I'm just doing my job. And so for the last 6 months I was over there, I was a ground commander, combat commander, on the front line, in charge of my own team. And, you know, all authority came through me. And I thought that was just an honor and you know, a position where not too many people get into, where I can call airstrikes, you know, I'm directly responsible for the 12 men underneath me, you know, and I'm representing the United States government in another country.
Wow.
With interpreters and trying to negotiate and help their social strife and introduce them to their central government, you know, and so hopefully I can bring back some of those negotiation skills, you know, here. It's not easy living in the city of Newark, you know, but I'm not gonna give up. I love this city. I plan on raising my family here, and we just keep at it, you know, day in and day out. Instead of me looking personally and saying where I want to be. I don't want to be anywhere the rest of the people aren't. That's the bottom line. You know, so I don't want to be, I'm the mayor, but my neighbor's broke, you know, or my friends are unemployed. You know, when I was over in Afghanistan, you know, people were losing their homes here. You know, the job market was tanking. I was there from 07 to 08.
Okay.
And, you know, I felt bad for the United States. We're over here trying to help another country, and we can't even keep people in their homes here. It was crazy.
Would you advise any young men in the city of Newark to go into the armed forces?
Absolutely. I wouldn't downplay them. I mean, they're a job, they're a career. I believe in the first year to 2 years, either you're going to make it or you're going to say, this is not for me. You know, and things come up sometimes, you know. I mean, someone could be in the military for 2 years, have a child or get married, and then decide they want to get out because now they're trained in some kind of job skill, which you have to be when you first come in the military, and say, look, I want to be a mechanic on my own outside and retire. But I think, you know, it's still a good occupation. I don't think we're going to have any wars coming up anytime soon, even though, you know, we have a new president. You know, I think he's going to be more cautious than what he said during the campaign, because we had Iraq and Afghanistan, which lasted almost 8 to 10 years apiece. I mean, and some say, what did we accomplish? You know, money went into other countries, but people were suffering back home.
Right.
You know, so I'm simple. I keep it. I'm humble. You know, if at a later date, you know, God affords me the opportunity, and you know my family allows me to take it or go for it, then I'll do that.
What would you bring? Let your imagination run wild. If you could, that one, either organization, one situation, one thing that you believe, if you could bring it to this city that would help everybody, what would that thing be?
One thing, let's see. If I could change the perception of the city, if I could let people see that we really have positive goals and aspirations, and then that we're not just a bunch of animals, which is what we're portrayed on a lot of times. If I could have 10 struggling mothers or 10 males, 10 females struggling, trying to raise their families in an honest and straightforward way and explain what they go through on a daily basis. You know, how hard it is to get up in the morning, to fight to get your child to be properly educated in a system which the state is rigged.
Right.
In a system which is separate and unequal. We have the charter schools flourishing, and then we have the traditional public schools that are just rudderless and adrift. And it's just unfair. The state is supposed to guarantee a basic education, and it's not happening. And so the charter schools, those who get in, are gonna have a chance. Those who stay in traditional public schools with no guidance and no funding are just, you know, again, their opportunities and their chances are just that much more minimized.
Wow.
Because there is no true program for traditional public schools. And everyone can't attend the charter. It's just not enough room.
Right.
And I just think that's unfair. That's why I opposed the One North plan. That's why I've been supportive of the Children's First team and tickets for the last 4 elections. You know, and we need local control. And we've been slowly but surely fighting for that. We've been fighting for community schools. And on Hawthorne Avenue, the old Boys and Girls Club, we've come up with a collaboration between the City of Newark, the National Action Network, with Al Sharpton, and Panasonic to have children learn coding, computer design, and whatnot. And they're going to be starting within the next couple of weeks.
Wow.
We had the press conference. We fed people there for Thanksgiving, and now the security system's in, the computers are coming, and we're going to have our kids in the neighborhood be able to walk in off the street and learn computer coding, whether it's programming or healthcare related, you know. But those are some of the things, you know, we want to bring resources directly into the community.
Nice.
And if the public could just see the community and the love that we have instead of focusing on the negativity, I think that's the one thing that I think would change some people's perceptions.
Nice. Nice. What do you, Newark, for the last 10 years, I believe with the start of the Lincoln Park Music Festival, almost every city park just about has sprung up with a festival and a music event during the summer. A lot of free music entertainment, and most of the music is house music or classics and things like that. Do you think that that makes a difference in the volatility of the city during the summer?
Absolutely. I have my house and gospel festival.
Yes, sir.
At Bo Porter Park, which we spent over $2 million renovating.
Nice.
It has a new field. It has new water area, water park, what you want to call it, where one section for little kids and another section for older kids, where you know they can splash, call it splash pads or what have you. And it's just fun to see them out there. And then you know we have a full pool there. So I mean, when I have my festival at that park. And I started before it was renovated, because that area of Leslie, Sly, and Lyons, they don't go down to Weequahic Park. Weequahic Park is far for them. Irvington Park might even be closer. That's another town. So I wanted to energize, rejuvenate that area. And we had over 500 people the first year we did it. not this year, but last year. But unfortunately, this year, the weather, it was like 98, 100 degrees, and you know, folks just couldn't bear the heat, and we didn't get a lot of participation. You know, people were cowering in whatever limited shade was on the outskirts, as opposed to the better weather last year where the basketball court was full of people. We went till 10 p.m. And, you know, I definitely feel people coming out and seeing groups of folks doing positive things, enjoying themselves with music, kids playing basketball, seniors, regular folks, house heads, gospel folks, all in one setting, you know, for free. And we provide water. There are food trucks up and down Leslie and Lions during the performance. You know, it's a free event, and we want people, you know, to be positive. So, and we've never had any violence. I think I've had 1 or 2 cops stop in and out, but no heavy police presence. So that's just an example. If we can keep doing that, we'll definitely improve the summer violence and volatility, which you mentioned.
What are some of the things that people who are residents here now in the city can look forward to in the coming, let's say, 5 to 10 years?
Well, if more companies continue to come to Newark, if we stabilize our budget and stabilize our taxes, if we improve our relationships with the port, where we've been fighting to, again, be open and honest with them. Like, look, Newark, we're not trying to kill you, but we know you have 500 to 800 jobs vacant.
Right.
We know the port is growing because they've raised the bridge and the super tankers are coming in. We would just like you to hire more Newarkers. Respectfully, the mayor has talked to them, and they appreciate the approach. Instead of, you know, you got to give it to us, to the approach. The
Right.
mayor's saying, look, you have plenty of room to grow. Let us grow with you. You know, so those things, and my biggest project I'm fighting for is a path expansion over into the South Ward. It's been on the books for about 10, 20 years. The proposal to build a new $2 billion path train station on Freeland Heights and Haynes Avenue, which will connect to the airport and to Penn Station in Newark. So folks over the Dayton and Freeland Heights area will be able to get on a one-seat ride, and unlike New Jersey Transit, which stops at Penn Station, New York, the PATH service goes all the way down to Lower Manhattan.
Right.
So you could legitimately apply for a job on Wall Street and sit in, and within 27 minutes, I believe, be there on the train.
Wow.
So that is, they're fighting over on the Port Authority level, their commissioners. The New York commissioners don't want it because it's not a New York project. The New Jersey commissioners are fighting for it, but they want a bus terminal. And so my thing is, that area has been impoverished for a long time, since the closing of Seth Boyden, since the closing of Dayton Avenue School. And we could bring that over, then with the expansion of Terminal A at the airport, which is right there in Elizabeth, they're gonna build a whole new terminal. Get rid of the old one, build a whole new terminal.
Wow.
You're gonna have commuters starting to come. Business and money will start flowing to that area, that corridor. Hotels have already said that they want to build if the station comes up. I think it'll be economic windfall for that area. If that $2 billion station is built, at least $10 to $15 billion of expansion will begin.
Nice.
People don't know. You talk about hidden gems, a secret. Harts Mountain owns Waverly Yards, which is in back of 100 International Way, the building, the Hemisphere building, where Customs used to be. Right there, if you're on 1 and 9, it's on the right. They are planning a convention center. The first phase is for them to gut the Hemisphere building at 100 International Way. They're working with United Airlines, put that into training facility for international airlines employees and some kind of residential area for staffing and whatnot. And then the second phase is that convention center, which will the back of the lot, which connects right along the rail line with the path expansion. And we're moving forward with that redevelopment plan. But ultimately, we want more redevelopment in the communities. 505, we're dealing with the Nina Simone House. If you look now, you see we're shoring up the facade with steel beams so that we can do the repairs necessary to make that building like an artist village, where people can be in there, show off their designs, have lofts, live there, a minimal cost, and make it affordable. We have artwork throughout the South Ward. We want more of that to come up. I mean, when you talk about volatility, you stop at a red light, you look up at a building, you see a beautiful 40-foot by 30-foot art design. I mean, it makes you feel better. So we're doing a lot of little things which we feel will add up into a better outcome and a better quality of life for the residents in the city of Newark and the South Ward specifically. A lot of little things, because there's no magic trick, there's no dust you can sprinkle to make everybody wealthy, but we're doing all we can to improve what the South Ward looks like, how do people feel, and most importantly, open lines of communication. I'm probably one of the only council people who gives out the direct cell number. And so if you have any issues in the South Ward, if you're listening right now, you can reach me at 973-991-8876. Now, I may not have that straight and box. I may not have a perfect answer or the answer you want to hear, but I will point you in the right direction, because I think, the citizens need to be connected with government, and they shouldn't have to go through a runaround.
Right.
I get domestic violence calls sometimes in the middle of the night, and I call the police. It's just, they shouldn't have to wait till Monday, 9 a.m. to reach out and be able to talk to their councilman. Their street might not get plowed. Their garbage might not be picked up, So I'm available 24 hours a day. It's only one time you should not call me. If you are directly being violently attacked, you should call 911.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
But I love the community. I love the direction that I see us going the next 5 to 10 years. I believe with Phil Murphy as our governor. And if Trump does live up to his promise to rebuild our inner cities, if he does bring federal dollars in, then, I might start liking him. We might be getting more jobs.
One last thing, I think. How much time are we, Tanya? Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I always do that. I apologize. Just the last question, and I know this isn't your ward, but the OneStop Center downtown, what services can people access there that many people who are watching this might need to know? Okay,
well, the OneStop Center is a collaboration between the city, the state. The goal was to have one location where if employers or people looking for employees wanted to come to the city of Newark, they could walk in and there would be a database of employees from all walks of life, those who don't have a GED to those who are rocket scientists, and there'd be one pool that data would be there where they can hire. There'd be resumes, there'd also be workshops, resume builders. You don't know how to write a resume? Here you go. GED training. You don't have your high school diploma? Here's a GED class. Interviews and screenings for employers so they don't waste their time. So if FedEx says, we want to hire, we're looking to hire 50 people. This one center, since they have your information, can say, hey, FedEx is interviewing on Monday at 10 a.m. We'd like you to come in. Unfortunately, we need to get our priorities right, and we need to be ready when jobs are offered. FedEx did come in a couple months ago, and there was a low turnout.
Wow.
Because people said, oh, that's not enough money. We got to stop. No one's handing out $50 an hour jobs. It's not there. It's a start. People have starter homes. There are starter jobs to get your feet back in the game. And maybe you're working at FedEx for $12 an hour. And while you're there, you run into somebody who says, hey, I like your work ethic. Let me hire you over here. You never know where you're gonna end up.
Right.
I started at Burger King. That's my first job at 15 and a half. Would you tell me later I'd be an elected official? Tell me later I'd have a 23-year career in the military, start as a private, end as a major?
Wow.
Never know that. I got invited to the White House 2 Saturdays ago. Now, I didn't get to meet the president, but I was in the White House. All because on his way out, the president reached out to local elected officials. He reached out to the mayor and asked him, did you have anyone who want to come to the White House? Mm-hmm. And the mayor thought it fit to invite myself and other council members.
Wow.
And individually we went and toured the White House. And I had never been before, but I thought that was phenomenal to be the chance to go before we get to the other guy. Mm-hmm. And I went.
Nice.
Drove down, toured it, and I'm back here. So you never know what opportunities you'll be presented, but individually, if you prepare yourself, stay focused, don't doubt yourself, dress appropriately, stay clean, don't do drugs, show up and interview on time, well kempt, with your resumes, ready to explain yourself, you'll have a chance.
Nice. Nice. I appreciate you so much for coming. We had Kareem Arnold come, and I think he's going to be running for South Ward Councilman in 18.
Okay.
So I said, let's get the councilman in the seat now. Let's get him down here as well.
Absolutely.
Everybody we got to get a full perspective. Everybody needs as much information as possible. So again, I thank you for coming. I appreciate you very much. Thank y'all too for hanging out. Tia, Rich, Tanya, Eddie, Shavar, everybody who came through. If I didn't mention your name, charge it to my head. I'm getting old. Monshawn, everybody who came through, I appreciate you. Southward Councilman of Newark, John Sharpe James, much love to, of course, we are in the Champagne room. Much love to Tanya Champagne and Sincere. Earlier, my guests were QG, Bathsheba Sumter, check her out on Facebook, and The Tron. Hostile, that's what I was trying to get out. Detron Hostile Edwards is his name. Check him out on Facebook as well. And of course, the councilman, make sure, and we will tag you in the video and things like that. So you can, I appreciate your street team for coming, your security detail, the men in Almost Black.
As one of my aides.
Coming down.
And my girlfriend.
I really, really appreciate you guys for coming. It was a great, great interview, and I thank you so much. Tell everybody I said hello.
Absolutely.
Down
Thank you for having me on the show.
Anytime.
I just want to wish everybody citywide, worldwide, a happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year.
Absolutely. Thank you. And that's the same for me. Happy holidays for everybody who celebrates. The one thing you really do need to celebrate are your relationships. Celebrate your family, celebrate your friends, celebrate your children. Celebrate all the people who are in your life because you do not know if they are going to be there tomorrow. I'm Devious Ahmad. Happy Devious Friday to everybody. I hope everyone has a good weekend. I will see y'all next Devious Friday right here. You do not want to miss the last show of the year. I'm telling you. You do not want to miss the last show of the year. So I'll see y'all then. So.